Where I could send you this. But I'll just Hi, good morning. This is Andrew Lalo, Judy President. Hey, it's so good to see all of you actually joining our webinar. I think this is going to be so important, this particular webinar. There's a reason why. I tell you some of the true actual story of some of my present patients. Uh, Diabetic dementia is a very actually common uh, symptom and sign and symptom for people who have diabetes for a long time. And as time goes on, things get worse. They forgot the medication, they forgot where they are, they start getting very confused, they start not going out. The worst that they also in the dementia, they really affect the daily activities, including taking care of themselves. And that's kind of bad and scary, especially in the United States. Really, you don't have much help in some way, or even in Hong Kong sometimes, if the person live alone, it's going to be tough for them. And all this can be preventable if you start early taking care of this. I'll give you one example. One of my actually very close friend, I know the entire family. The mom starting to get diabetic dementia, and this is only 3, 4 years earlier. Now, as time goes on, the family are not really focused of saying, okay, how can we make it better? That was not in the equation. It's more on, well, okay, she's getting old, and net result, she will be like that. Well, because of the assumption, because it's just elderly, really at the end of the day, person become not only disoriented, missing a medication. The worst that they miss not only the diabetic medication, they miss the blood pressure medication. So the blood pressure medication got missed for a week. The blood pressure continued goes up without knowing. And at the end of the day, on 10th day, she actually had a stroke. And that stroke got her totally bedridden. And so she start also don't remember anything. But the sad part is she suffered another 5 more years before passing away. Wow, the cost of high medication, the care, and the family stress because of the fact that she doesn't remember, just got worse and worse and worse, and basically just become a vegetable. So that's why today I thought it would be nice to at least get this some understanding. How do you prevent that? So let's dive in together, because this is a lecture that, especially for our client who is somewhat in the neighborhood of 50 years old, you start listening to that and get a better understanding will be really beneficial. And that's just where we're going. So today we're going to talk about diabetic dementia, how high blood sugar affect your brain health. I think that is a really very good webinar to better understand what effect you can get, and that is the thing that we try to discuss today, so you can make sure you have some preventive. Now we're going to talk about what is dementia, how blood sugar harm your brain, why diabetic also increase your dementia risk, and early warning sign, and the food and habits, and also activities that can protect your memory, and how low sugar can help you. And all that will be really give you a better understanding, a heads up what's coming. And if you are diabetes, or even you are not diabetic yet, eventually you are just pre-diabetic, that might be one of the results you're going to get. And I have a lot of patients actually have that issue. Okay. So I just want to let you know this is not uncommon. It's very common, by the way. Now, I noticed a lot of people here, I don't know, they're new to the company. So I was always catch up. What is diabetes? It's all go through four stages. The first stage, LDL cholesterol up, damage the B cells coming out from the pancreas. The B cells will take sugar to the cells. Sugar doesn't go into the cells, so your bloodstream has a lot of blood sugar circling around. The problem start. LDL cholesterol, blood sugar add together, the blood becomes thick and form plaque throughout the vessel wall, and then your stage 2 is going to come because all these plaques is going to block everywhere, your brain, your heart, and eventually the heart vessel or the any vessel become less space, your blood pressure start going up. Now, blood pressure goes up, you usually don't feel anything, nothing happened. And so you continue the same lifestyle, more and more plaques are going to form. Eventually, you go down to stage 3, which is your pre-diabetic stage. How they measure pre-diabetic stage? All doctor, whole world measure the same thing, HbA1c, because everybody has hemoglobin. They see how amount sugar attached to this hemoglobin. If you're 5.7 and below, you are a normal person. If you're 5.7 to 6.4, now you're pre-diabetic. Unfortunately, pre-diabetic, there's no medication for you. The doctors say you're not diabetic state, you just need to change your lifestyle. So basically, they ask you to lower your weight, take low carb diet, low fat diet, exercise, and and basically continue to monitor. So make sure your HbA1c go back to 5.7. However, one thing can help you is called low SUT. Low SUT is definitely can help you to lower your blood sugar, LDL cholesterol, and blood pressure. But you don't do anything, so guess what? In about 2 to 3 years, you become full diabetic. If you want to become full diabetic, unfortunately, you cannot reverse. You just continue to be diabetic. You're going to get medication, all kind of things. If you still don't do anything, all kind of complication will come. And so that's why this is so important to understand this fourth stage so you can work on it. Now, we'll talk about low SUT. Why low SUT works? Well, first of all, low SUT, the only two things that there's guava leaves, which is delay the absorption of sugar into the blood vessel, so less sugar in the blood vessel. Then they have bitter melon. Bitter melon increase the insulin sensitivity, take sugar back to the cells, and also it remove excess sugar, LDL cholesterol, and blood pressure. Actually, it remove the salt through urine. So net result, you have 3 high will be decreased. Your blood pressure, blood sugar go down, LDL cholesterol go down, and your salt go down, your blood pressure go down, plus detox. So it's a wonderful product, 100% natural. This is not a drug. There's no contraindication in what you're taking. Your diabetic drug, your blood pressure is no contraindication. So you can continue to take this and take low SUT. It's only a supplement that health food is a food basically because it's just making tea, so you can drink, it's easy to control. Now, we don't just ask you to drink tea because we felt that you gotta change your lifestyle, which including, drinking low SUT tea, plus you have to really control your diet, which is low carb and low fat diet. You have to exercise 8 to 10,000 steps a day. You have to have weight control, lower your weight BNI from 30 to 23. You listen to this weekly webinar to build awareness to yourself. And this webinar is free. It's free of charge. Every week we'll give you one. Or you can say, I missed that. No problem. Look at this. We have a QR code. Take a picture of this picture right here. Take this picture. When you take this QR code, you can actually get all these webinar. There's 400 something webinar in there can teach you everything. And this is get for you for free. And basically you can do www.CTEASLOWSUTEA/videos. So CDT's OSUT videos. So all these are there for you to enjoy, take your time to see, to better understand. We empower you to do this. So go for it. So now, why it matter? Why this is so important? As you know, global diabetic case rose from 200 million in 1990 down to 830 million to 2022. That's a tremendous jump. The reason is life is changing, and usually it's only the elderly got the diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Now 14% adult 18 plus has diabetes. Okay. Then in 20, a diabetic direct as to be there are more and more people, and dementia is also very growing very big. Now there are 507 million people worldwide have dementia problem. And high blood sugar really connected to individuals with diabetes, and they actually have greater risk of cognitive problems with the dementia. And this is including, not only, daily activities, they might even end up with Alzheimer's disease, which is a very common form of dementia. And type 2 diabetic have high chance to develop, cognitive problem compared with non-diabetic patients. So this is all coming. Let you know that if you have high blood sugar or you have diabetes, you got to really watch the dementia. And I have many friends, patient, relative close to me who has that problem. And because we just don't recognize at early stage, and at that time they didn't prevent it, as we go on, this got worse and worse and worse. And this is something that it can be done early. If you get 3-4 years early, will really help you to decrease the gets more serious. So now let's talk about very quickly what's diabetes. Diabetes is very simple. It's a long-term disease that the body has too much sugar right around the bloodstream, and or they don't have enough insulin to help them to put the sugar back to the cells, or the insulin become resistant, doesn't work well, and so net result, the sugar don't get in the cells. They will have continued high blood sugar in the bloodstream. And the problem with diabetes is they start blocking all the arteries, veins, everywhere, the whole body, vascular system, and start blocking. So this is really the biggest problem of diabetes, and is getting more and more common because life has become more sophisticated. Food are plentiful. So now, what is dementia? Now, dementia basically is not one disease. Basically, it's a group of brain illness that reduce memory, thinking behavior, ability to do everyday activities, and worsen with time, mainly affect the older folks. But aging doesn't cause this. It's really by your physical disease that you might have in your body system to create this dementia. And by the way, it's sad is there's no cure. Okay, when you got it, man. So you got to basically just decrease the fast deterioration. And basically, you can definitely have certain medication, lifestyle change can help to manage the symptom, improve the quality of life in the earlier stage. But as time goes on, you have to just control to make it worse. Dementia is a major cause of disability and dependence among older folks worldwide. This is something real. And then you will see basically people get older, they get forgetting, and they handle take care of themselves. It's a large social economic cost for individual, family, community, and health system. Like my friend who has dementia, did not take the pills of blood pressure and also the diabetic pill. It got a stroke, and that's 5 years lying in bed, and that someone got to take him and can remember everything. 5 years. You see how much cost it is and how much stress for a family. I tell you, tremendously. So I hope that this lecture will give you this information so you start be aware and start doing something to your family to help them out. Okay. So how the brain use the sugar. Now the brain basically using the sugar basically for energy. The brain needs a lot of sugar for the energy. It's just like a car. You don't have fuel, it can't work, and the car won't run. So the brain works best with sugar, but on the hand, the sugar level has to be very steady. You cannot go zoom up and down. So stable sugar give you clear thinking and better brain work. But if your sugar is too high, it create a stress to the brain. Well, it's too low, so the brain cannot have enough fuel. It become weak and it cause confusion and it balance. So the actual sugar balance of really level, continuous stable sugar become very important for a brain. And that is the key that you have to remember. Now, well, if that's the case, one question you ask is how does sugar damage the brain? Okay. Now, first of all, as you know, I mentioned the sugar and cholesterol also form clots or plaques everywhere, and that's including the plaques to the brains, goes vessels. So it start blocking those blood flow, or the blood becomes so thick it start damaging the vessels. That meaning that when you have plaque, blood cannot go to the vessels. That means less oxygen, nutrients to the brain. And high sugar cause also one very important problem comes up, inflammation. When you high inflammation, you start getting toxic buildup, the vessels are become inflamed, and the brain cell become weak, and you eventually damage the brain cell, it died. Okay, so really sugar can really damage your brain with high sugar, real damage brain. Low sugar, definitely you also will have less energy to work, so you become weak. So you have to have very balanced. Now, diabetic dementia, what is the connection then? Now, as you know, when you are diabetes, you do have increased risk of dementia, okay? So studies show that people are much easier to develop dementia if they're diabetic because there's poor control of the sugar, which spreads up throughout the sugar. Poor control just speed up the brain aging and damage. It speed up that all that because of the diabetes. This is why managed diabetes is not only just insulin, but it's also protect your brain and your mind. And so net result, you gotta remember, you cannot allow the sugar become not managed well and continue to cause damages. And chronic diabetes is actually negatively impact your brain, and dementia can be a complication to a diabetic. Like, for example, you really forget your medication, your daily activities. And when you get aging, poor blood sugar control will be continue heighten your dementia risk in the diabetic. Plus, your whole process of diabetic disease will become more severe because of the fact that you cannot manage it yourself and continue to get worse and worse and worse, including daily activities. And I can share with you more about future upcoming, what's a daily activity you might able to really experience if you are dementia and you have diabetes. Now, the sad part is when you have diabetic, it start damage your vessels throughout the body, including your brain. The sugar will start to damage the small brain vessels, okay? And when the brain vessels are damaged, then oxygen and nutrients cannot go to the brain. So less oxygen and nutrients go to the brain, then the whole chain of event will occur. The brain cells are slowly dying or they block. They can lead to memory and thinking problem. So net result, the cells slowing down, your memory start losing bit by bit. Now that is the real problem. And remember, the brain cells must have food and energy to continue to nurture them to grow, right? If those are blocked or damaged, you don't get that. Imagine that. That is the issue that you're going to face. Also, the insulin and memory, how does it relate? Insulin does help brain cells. It helps the brain cells to communicate. If you are in diabetic, unfortunately, your insulins are resistant. So you block the signal to the brain cells. And this makes it harder to learn new things and remember information. So diabetes actually cause tremendous insulin resistance. So you have to control the insulin resistance. And basically, that will help you. If you're less insulin resistant, the memory signal becomes stronger rather than become weak. Now, inflammation is another issue for the brain. You have high sugar, the brain become inflamed. I mean, the brain cells and the vessel become swell up. Okay. And with that, the inflammation, it also reached the brain with all the swelling. And imagine just like a small fire burning inside a vein because all the vessels are, inflamed. And that will continue damage your brain cells and nerve, which control the memories and thinking and learning. So over time, the brain cannot send message very clearly anymore and lead to start memory loss. You become very confused. You slower than thinking. All these will come along the way when your brain cells start damaged, especially a long-term inflammation. And net result, as we go on, you will have increased higher risk of like Alzheimer's disease and other form of dementia, which really at the end of the day, with all that happen, you're going to start losing your daily function. You don't remember taking pills. All that can be really coming along. I mean, that is just continual issue, which if you don't do something now to stop that progression, you got to protect your brain not to get worse and worse because they don't reverse. They just continue to get worse. So at the end of the day, you now start understanding what's happening with dementia. So what kind of sign you need to look at? And that's important. You have to identify the early sign. First of all, the early warning sign, many people will notice some kind of memory problem, like for example, forget recent things that happened, a conversation, appointment. Some of them may have trouble even solving simple problems like paying bills, following recipes. They may struggle to find the right words and stop in the middle of the sentence, cannot really say, what I want to say. And they even forgot about what they have so said. And they will be confused on time, place as common. Like, for example, like a lot of my patients, they can't identify today is Saturday. They think that is like 5 days ago of, and so they're all mixed up and they even confused of places they go to. So they don't want to go out, like even going to shopping mall. They really don't want to go. They thought that, wow, I don't know, I could go there. And they lost at the shopping mall, or lost the way to go to a shopping mall. They really lost the way to go to just the nearby, 7-Eleven even. Okay. And so all that will happen. Now, the worst that some of these issue is also they affect the mood and the personality, depends on where the dementia is located. They will be anxious, they may be angry, and they may withdraw. And one of my patients actually come around telling me that, oh, I felt, and she cried in front of me, by the way. And the thing is, the mom, first of all, don't recognize her. And the mom said, you try to steal my stuff, you try to steal my money, $10. And basically, the thing that the mom said becomes so hurt because they don't recognize, they accuse her of stealing money, and all that came out. It got worse and worse and worse. And at the end of the day, she actually needs daily activity, but she's fighting it because she can recognize, she got fear. The maids come in, she also kind of want to beat up the maid. So the maid want to quit because they said, hey, I can't do much because your mom come beating me up. So all these can be coming of extremely challenge. They can't dress themselves, they cannot cook already. They don't even take their own medication. Even you give them medication, you refuse to take medication because you think that you poison her. Wow, that is scary. Imagine that all these challenges will come with dementia. Wow, that will be extremely challenging and really sad. You put yourself in that position. If you're the children or even your friend, you see your mom or your friends turn out that way. And I saw it with my own eye, and that is really a challenge. And she is crying. She really don't know what to do. That is the real problem with dementia. So early action, basically, if you said 2, 3 years ago, while her mom is still, with good relative cognitive function, why don't we do that? Help her out at that time and get medication, plus also, good food and diet and so forth. We'll show you a little while later. Then she doesn't go into that stage. I think everybody would be so much happier. If not, boy, that will be humongously sad where you see your mom become a really a not the same person, like a total monster, if you will. So this is something I want to alert you folks that you really need to think about. You got to start early control and help them out. Now, the main risk really, first of all, you have to think about dementia usually related to older people. So as you go older, your brain become more sensitive and more damaged because remember the blood sugar damaging the brain? And plus, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, especially diabetic, actually damage the vessels. And that supply the oxygen to the brain and food to the brain, right? So over time, this leads to memory loss and also thinking problem. They can resolve problem. Plus, if you're overweight and you don't move around, that makes inflammation even worse because you don't move. Insulin continue to be very resistant to the brain. You go also since you don't move, you hurt your heart and your brain at the same time. Okay, and that is really natural. Especially if you're a smoker, you got to stop smoking because smoking or you drinking a lot of alcohol, it actually reduce the blood flow to the brain. If the blood flows to the brain, then you actually speed up the brain damage and aging. Okay, especially now when you become like living alone, if your brain not working well, you will still start getting tremendous, start slowing your dementia, start eventually more and more and more. You know what can happen? You're gonna start getting isolate yourself. People come say, "Oh no, I don't feel that well. Don't come." So that even hurt more in the brain health, the whole body well-being health. And you don't stay connected with family, friends more and more. Eventually, you know what? You're gonna have depression and isolation, and eventually your brain get worse, deteriorating. Oh, excuse me, I got some allergy today. Oh God. Okay. Okay. So, um, so especially when someone who have dementia and it really affect the diabetic care because you, as I mentioned, you were able to forget because you have dementia. You can't remember much now. And you can also forget taking medication correctly. You don't monitor blood sugar go up, you don't know. Your blood pressure go up, you don't know. So you really, at the end of the day, make the care tremendously difficult. And you might miss a doctor appointment, you miss treatment. So as time goes on, your diabetic complication keep coming up because of the fact that you have now don't act anymore to treat yourself. You gotta depend on other because you can't remember how to do it now. Plus, you will start fighting with all the people around you who will take care of you. So end up you get more complication, your heart problem service, your nerve damage service, your memory loss come even faster. So really it's a catch-22, but that's going to happen. So let's talk about prevention because really, as you talk about 2, 3 years ago, if you do that early, maybe you can arrest that and don't get so worse. So you can able to continue to live with a better lifestyle without no really worsen your memory. Important one is you have to have a lot of fruits and vegetables, including carrot, bell pepper, spinach, cow, berries like blueberry, raspberry, blackberry, okay. And fish, you want salmon, tuna, all the fatty fish, which is great omega-3. Nuts, you want walnuts, almond, flaxseed, and the whole grain, yeah, brown rice, oats, and quinoa. So do not really try to take white bread and white uh, you know, uh, 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 white bread and white rice because that is not going to help you. Now, you do limit your food that is with red meat and processed meat because all that will help you to increase your inflammation of blood. The food cause the inflammation of the whole body, including blood sugar, damaged blood vessels. Also, that result increase your memory loss and also worsen your dementia. And so some of the red meat will be like bacon, pork, bacon, sausage, red meat, steak, and so forth. The processed food is including bacon, sausage, fatty pork. Those are all cause inflammation and clog blood vessels. So net result, it will be decrease the oxygen to your brain. And a sweet drink like soda, bubble teas, you got to take that off, candies, that all cause sugar spike. And that result, it becomes stress to the brain and slowly basically kill your brain and linked to dementia also. And you need to take no longer take refined grains like white bread, white rice, all this stuff, and also fried fast food like uh, McDonald's, uh, French fry. All these increase inflammation. Again, that will hurt your heart and blood vessels, and plus you get able to limit your alcohol intake. That becomes very important, and I think that's something that you got to do that all the time to limit your uh, uptake of your excess alcohol, because that will be one more thing that will be not really healthy for you. And it does actually shrink the brain tissue with too much alcohol and harm your memory. So all these food, if you can reduce it, even little, can start protecting your brain and your memory. And that's why it's so important to start understanding this is the kind of thing you need to start to help you to improve your memory and decrease the chances you start continue damaging your brain. And with that, you can slowly arrest or stopping the dementia early. Now, then some of the habit to help you to protect your memory is you have to challenge your brain all the time. Now, a lot of people I understand in Hong Kong and even in San Francisco, they play mahjong or they play games. So all that will be challenge your mind because you need to think. So mind is like exercise. You think. You gotta keep learning and get regular exercise and protect your head not to get injured, because injured then can potentially hurt your brain, then you start getting more memory loss. You have to not smoking. Smoking actually slow down and risk your cognitive decline, and that's really what you got to do. You have to manage your blood pressure, manage your diabetic. As I mentioned, a balanced diet, lots of green, uh, not red meat, but not processed meat, but more fish, and also good red rice and brown rice. And you have to keep your healthy weight. And sleeping is so important because in order to get good sleeping, it helps to clear your brain toxin to regenerate your brain. And you gotta sleep well. So those are quality sleep I'm talking about. So you don't wake up at 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock middle of the night just to do something and cannot go back to sleep. That is not good. Now you have to continue to strive to control your blood sugar, monitor sugar level, because remember high sugar level damages your brain cells, right? And you have to consume balanced meal. Follow the doctor advice, because you now has to see the doctor to continue to control your dementia, not to get it worse. You want to control it. Now they might give you a patch you put on to arrest the dementia, to decrease the continue forward dementia. So the serious, so you decrease the chances to continue to move bad. So you gotta have those medication, and that will help you. And certainly, drinking low sugar tea will be extremely helpful. Every meal, 2 cups of low sugar tea to lower your blood sugar to help you continue to improve your body blood sugars and don't damage the brain cell. Now, changing, to control your blood sugar is so important. So besides drinking low sugar tea, you have to actually change your lifestyle. Like for example, you have to eat better, a lot of greens, exercise more, keep healthy weight. So your BMI gotta go down to 23, have a body use insulin better, and keep sugar stable. That's the key. And basically, the overall objective is you want to get lower the HbA1c, not at 8 and 9, but bring it down to below 6. Below 6% is your goal HbA1c. Best, you can even go down to 5.7. So 5.7 to 6, it will be really a big target for you to continue to get that, achieve that, and stay there. And every day you have 30 to 45-minute exercise and 5 to 7 days a week. Always take a medication and direct the your objective with the medication is lower your blood sugar and also take low sugar tea. And that is the thing that you gotta keep doing. So that way your blood sugar are not getting worse. Because imagine blood sugar are continue to lower, damage your brain cells. Now, my suggestion here is start early, prevent your brain damage. And diabetes can be reversed in a sense that maybe not in your record, but the blood sugar can A1C, your HbA1c, can drop it down to 5.7 or 6. Okay, so you can reverse even from high A1C. I saw a lot of my clients who has come in at 10 A1C all the way down to 6 and below. Some of you go down to 5.7. So at least you can arrest that memory loss and protect your brain. And so with that, your brain is not there's not a lot of damage. You can able to protect your memory, your thinking, and independence. You can start understand who they are, your family members, and so forth. There's worse that you can see some of my client that I visit. I was surprised some of them is actually can recognize the children, the wife or husband. That's really sad for family. And so they don't know what to do. But on the hand, if they realize this can be start early to prevent it, they don't get that bad. It's slowly seeing on and on. Eventually it's get worse and worse and worse. And people just don't know what to do and they don't act. And that's a real problem. So low sugar tea is truly a healthy drink. That's just not medication. It's just a herbal supplement. Doesn't contraindicate any medication. It helps you to regulate your blood sugar, blood cholesterol, and also your blood pressure, support your cardiac vascular health, and improve overall physical fitness. And really, you need to help to continue to do this because it has no calories and no sugar and no caffeine, will not affect the sleep. But you got to continue to drink it, not drink it 1 day only or 2 days only or one week only. You have to continue to drink throughout the day, 6 to 8 cups. And throughout that, you know what? Your blood sugar will definitely come down. It definitely can control, will be lower than 6. And I have clients actually continue to drink that. They start realizing the benefit of that. So do go with low sugar tea to help you continue to lower your blood sugar. So in conclusion, dementia does affect your memory and your daily life. The problem is, don't think I just forget memory, because that will including your, taking care of yourself, taking medication, and all the daily function and recognize your friends and family will be gone. So imagine dementia affect not daily life, but it's really the whole lifestyle, the whole personality might be gone. So it's so important. You really have to do something now to prevent that become that stage. And the high blood sugar actually does increase dementia risk. So you need to have a high, good, healthy habit to protect your brains. Like, for example, eat more fruit, the green vegetable. So each day, all your half of the plate is all greens. Could be a cow, could be spinach salad, whatever. And then you have to have little protein. Will be like fish, is like salmon, cod, but white chicken, but not steak. Processed food like hot dog, and the rest, your starch will be like beans, tofu, rather than getting a lot of white rice, no white rice. So you have to continue to exercise, increase your mental activities, support your memory to continue to do more games. For example, I know people in Hong Kong that have mahjong. Let's do that because that will be good for you to continue to think. And then you have to have take care of your all the daily challenge, because as you move on, if you have not quite lost your memory yet, so you have to continue to strengthen that. You have to take a medication, and you have to continue to improve your lifestyle change, listen to the doctor, drink low tea, and this will help you to improve the total quality of life instead of getting to a stage you become total, don't understand what's happening, can't recognize your family. That would be too sad. So today webinar, I hope that will give you the overall, really at the end of the day, give you a better choice how to create better memory, better thinking, and healthier quality of life as you move on, controlling your blood sugar, not over too high to damage, and create you a very high dementia or serious dementia stage. And that's what we try to do. And I hope this webinar to give you a heads up, and you can start practicing starting today. Thank you very much for spending time with us. I hope this is going to give you a understanding what's happening. Dementia can be a really scary stuff. And I saw too many friends, too many relatives, and too many clients actually end up with very sad result. And you can truly prevent that like 2, 3 years before it got worse. If you have any question, write to me, Andy, Andy, at wahfong.com, Andy at wahfong.com, or WhatsApp us, 852 area code 6792-8891. So thank you again for all the time you spent with us, and I hope that this information helped you to start early to prevent dementia get worse. Take care. Thank you very much, and have a very nice day, and looking forward for you to continue webinar in the future. Take care. Bye-bye. Take care.